Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. A couple DCEU updates. First of all, Birds of Prey has cast more people into the movie, and one is very interesting. This is Victor Zsasz is cast in Birds of Prey, and that person is relatively unknown to me anyway, is Chris Messina. He will play Victor Zsasz in Cathy Yan's Birds of Prey, along with others of Ali Wong joins the cast and a bunch of other people. So they are definitely bringing a lot more people, bringing a lot more cast, or announcing more people in this movie as it gets ready to be shot. They did have table readings and stuff like that. But it's cool to see another Gotham, another Batman villain within this movie, Victor Zsasz, and seeing that it's rated R, we can we're gonna see maybe a lot of violence from him, and that'll be quite interesting. We did get a little bit of him in the Dark Knight trilogy, just a very little bit, but I think we're gonna have a lot more. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know, he could be a side character. He might die in this one, who knows? But it's gonna have it there. So seeing that there's a lot more Gotham cameos in, of course, Birds of Prey, with pretty much the rogue gallery of Batman. Is Batman gonna show up? I mean, that'd be really sweet. Like, having known nothing about Ben Affleck's return, and then you see him on the set or in the movie, he just jumps on Batfleck, just beats up Victor Zsasz, and you're like, he's back! Ben Affleck is back as Batman! I mean, I would totally love that. But speaking of the Batman, Humberto Gonzalez, El Mayimbe, whatever you think of him, he tweeted out that Batman update: Matt Reeves' script rewrite is due before the end of the year. It's due. Is it meaning like Warner Brothers says, hurry up, Matt Reeves, get that movie out, get that script turned in? Or is he, intentionally going to say, I'm going to turn it in? I hope, how that talk about they were rushing Ben Affleck to finish the script, rewrite this, rewrite that, so I'm really anxious in a way to see how this movie turns out. When are we going to get, when are we going to finally get, and maybe at the end of this year, that they're going to be done saying the rewrites, this is perfect, go, green light, get your Batman. And I'm pretty sure they know who Batman is. I think they really do know who's going to be back. Is Ben Affleck going to be back? And who's going to be the younger Batman? I really think they already know that, and they're just waiting to get that script done, ready to go, and then they're going to have the casting and things like that probably next year. If anything, San Diego Comic-Con, right? That's the biggest event, right? 2019 San Diego Comic-Con. Wondering how that's going to be out. And I think all of that is all the release and the slate, if you will, or things that they know. They're trying to get it down pat. They got Birds of Prey down pat. The Aquaman is pretty much, it's out. Shazam almost pretty much done. Wonder Woman 1984 is the year after. So this is going to be really interesting, guys. And it may come down to Aquaman's success. And speaking of Aquaman, the review embargo has been lifted for the United States, and even pretty much critics in general, and it has been uploaded to Rotten Tomatoes, however you feel about that. And right now, at this moment, tonight, it's standing at a tomato meter of 76% above average in the good areas in terms of, well, Rotten Tomatoes is kind of crappy like that because it's really just rotten or fresh. There's no real a semblance of a grading score, even though it's a 76%. It's either rotten or fresh. So in this case, it is a fresh score at an average rating of 6.3 out of 10. There's been 62 reviews counted. 47 are fresh and 15 are rotten. So the critics' consensus is Aquaman swims with its entertainingly ludicrous tide, offering up CGI superhero spectacle that delivers energetic action with an emphasis on good old-fashioned fun. So you can go on Rotten Tomatoes right now if you care to read about reviews and such. I don't don't quite will. I'm not going to read anything about it. I haven't even watched any reviews on it. Aside from Fiona, though, she put out one and she said it was spoiler free. So I just wanted to get an idea of what her thoughts on it were. But for the most part, a lot of these reviews sometimes have spoilers in them nowadays. I don't know why, but so I don't look at that. I want to make up my own mind. I want to go in the theater myself, sit down on my butt, have some popcorn, and have a drink, and I want to consume that film on my own and give my own judgments about that, make my own review. And then when I release that, then I'll look at other people's reviews, see how much we differ and things like that. Maybe not too much. I don't know. I'm not really quite that way. But I am still very much excited and gladly, unfortunately, Rotten Tomatoes has been in this time of period, this modern period of being able to influence the crowd, if you will, influence the domestic score, if you will, and the things like that. To a certain extent, because you see how Venom turned out. They're like, well, Venom looks fun, I'm just gonna go. So maybe most of the mainstream audience don't really quite run. It kind of differs. It's like when Venom came out, that did good, and there was a lot of money in that, and the score on the personal, not the personal, what is that other rating on the side, the audience rating was a lot higher. It was like totally flipped between the Rotten Tomatoes score and how the critics think and how the audience thinks. So when the critics were put together and their score was so low, in the average and percentage, and Rotten Tomatoes just slaps the rotten on it. But it's amazingly seeing how the audience score was a lot higher for Venom, and Venom did good. It also becomes to the cinema score. Cinema score kind of gives you what the word of mouth is, I guess, in terms of what the mainstream audience in that kind of sense. And so I think Venom did pretty well in that. Like, was it like an A or something? And so it'd be interesting to see how Aquaman does. It's already making buck in international waters. By the time it gets to US, who knows? A lot of people are pretty still confident in that billion-dollar status, and I think that would be quite something for the DCEU for once. I think a lot of these people who are hating on the movie are just used to hating on DC, and they just can't get away from that. So it's but maybe in coming time they'll start to jump aboard as soon as we get heavy hitters lining up, all positive, good movies coming out. Not like it wasn't great before, but I mean, like, overall, I think if we have that little bit of backing from everybody, Aquaman, Shazam, and then maybe something Joker, and that's not part of the DCU. Birds of Prey is still shooting, so I don't know. We'll see what happens next year, if there's anything else happens in 2019 for DCU. But at the moment, Aquaman is doing well. It's getting a positive reaction, positive reviews. It's making money outside of the United States, outside of domestic. So I'm very happy for it, and I can't wait to see it come next week. Oh my God, it's like, is it next week or is it this week? Oh my God, it's this week, guys. Oh my God, just like the week's going by. This Saturday, I'm getting to watch it this Saturday. I just realized that now. This Saturday, I get to watch amongst a lot of other people from Amazon Prime members. We get to watch in the United States. Envy you guys UK guys who are gonna be a big influence now. So, Aquaman, go there, check it out, make up your own mind. Don't let numbers and fruits, I keep forgetting if tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable, well, whatever, but don't let that make up your mind. Judge it for yourself. Okay, well, just a little bit now. This is into the tinfoil area, Snyder Watch, if you will. Zack Snyder did come out with a more Vero post since a couple days now, and mostly it's about his office, and I gotta say, his office looks amazing. Like it looks like Bruce Wayne's, where Bruce Wayne would live, like the nice car and the thing like that. And I'm like, oh my god, like some are convinced he's like really the Batman here. But amazing office. He's almost done. He's on the final finishing line, if you will, whatever that means. I'm hoping it's more than just the office. Just saying. But he says slow and steady wins the race. You can take whatever you think about that. And I just want to talk about that one picture that we've been kind of jumping the gun on. Okay, it was a bunch of real stacked, and it says the devil's head and a real one, and no, I think it was like not one, like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. It's all stacked up. So we've been looking IMDb where everybody's like typing the devil's head. What is that? What's the devil's head? Can't find a movie called The Devil's Head at all. Try to look internationally. Then, we're like, what does that mean? And, we go bonkers. Of course, tinfoil hat on. And we're like, the devil's head, the devil, doesn't fall far from the, falls from the sky. They don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the sky. And we're like, what is that? Was Steppenwolf and original Zack Snyder cut. It was said that Steppenwolf's head gets chopped off by Wonder Woman. Devil's head, Steppenwolf's head. Oh my God! And so, but then everybody's like, wait, calm down. And so, the logical people came in like, it's not the devil's head, it's the devil's head reel, because there's head reels and tail reels on these projectors, and that's why they have that. And so we're like, oh, okay, right, cool. So Devils, 1971 was a film back in the day. It's one of his top 20 movie challenges. So apparently he was able to get to watch in his little movie theater, and so, but there's only like a few of us, including my good old friend Kenny. We researched it a little bit more into the Devils, so we pulled up the Devils, and you can do it too. The Devils 1971, the Wikipedia. Apparently it has some similarities to the Zack Snyder's situation per se. Apparently much of that original cut was thought to be lost. It was like so controversial in that content that they actually didn't show it. They didn't release the original cut. They cut it up. They did different types of cuts, and then they finally found it, and they restored it as close as they could, and it was presented as like an director's uncut version, and that uncut version was released on Shudder. Shudder is a streaming service. Does that sound familiar to what we've been talking about? Justice League? I don't know. There's a controversial content movie. The studio cut it up, and there was a different cut, and the uncut director's cut was rumored to be released on a certain streaming service. Wow. Either we're too crazy now and we just are losing it, and we're just picking out similarities and things that actually have no connection at all to what he posts, or he's literally telling us something about the Devil's 1971 film, and how that the full version is indeed out there, and it was Shudder that was able to release that on their streaming service. And literally their streaming service is, I'll pull it up, when you type in Shudder release streaming service, it says this. Now that doesn't mean that the Snyder Cuts could be coming on Shudder. I'm just thinking it's just very interesting how it was there. But it actually kind of tells you that it features like uncut versions of movies. It says that uncut versions of movies, and I think that is quite interesting in how we were able to get from seeing just the reels, and our minds just went through all different directions, and finally we just went narrow it down. And at least Kenny and I think other people saw that as well, but I may tweet that out just to get you guys a little bit excited, or just get your, it's just so fun to go into that. So I would love to, like, one day, if and when the Snyder Cut does get released, like Zack Snyder would tell us like which, like, it's like the BVS references, do a Vero references of what he actually hinted about the Snyder Cut if and when it comes out. And I want him to talk about that. Would be quite interesting, quite fun to see how much were we wrong or how much were we right, and how much we've never even thought about, and just like having that open that Pandora's box of information, and you're like, oh, you literally were telling us that something was happening. Or nothing at all. It could be the other way around, and he could be like, those posts were literally nothing at all. I just decided, it's just releasing. I mean, not including all the storyboards and stuff. I mean, like the other things that we go real tinfoil and trying to grab the little pieces of information on. It could just be nothing, but it would be fantastic and fun and incredibly cool if it did mean something, knowing Zack Snyder putting all these different references in his films. What if he's putting references in his real life? And that would be quite something, and I'd be totally amazed and aghast, and saying told you so. But we won't know until then. At the same token, there's a lot of different sources coming out, and people who claim of sources and things like that. The newest one I tweeted out, but who knows if any of that is true. He claims to have a source, inside source, saying that it's going to come out in an actual time. It says November 1st, and this is Lois Santantino. He tweeted to me. I talked about him a little bit, but it seems like he's really open to share what he knows. And he's on Twitter, and he says his source knows Jay Oliva, and that the move, everything that he has predicted has happened, although I've not known this guy at all. So take it with a huge boatload of Titanic full of salt. It's easily to be apprehensive of all these different people who have sources nowadays. You know what I mean? But he's putting himself out there, and people are grilling him. So interesting. But yeah, like some of us had thought that what is the reason for Wonder Woman to push back to the next year and leaving November open. And so this guy literally just said November 1st, 2019, expect the Snyder Cut. But it's still far away. So if that's the case, I would seriously love to see a trailer, just to say that something is out there. And some of you are funny enough to say, we already saw the Snyder Cut trailer, Chris. JLo trailer 1, JLo trailer 2, those were the Snyder Cut. But I know, I get it, but I want to see something like the version you've not seen in theaters or something, something along that lines, just to really give it away, or the Snyder Cut is real. But anyway, who knows what's going to happen. And so until then, there's going to be a lot of different people coming out saying they have these sources and stuff. I hope they all are true. In all honesty, I hope you all are true, but I am hesitant at the same time. Yet it fills me with hope, and I think that hope is very important. It keeps us not from giving up. And it kind of keeps us from, swaying the other way, you know what I mean? And it keeps us going. So hopefully a lot more comes out. And until then, Aquaman comes out this weekend. I'm really stoked for it, so I can't wait to watch it. And I'll let you know how that goes. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.